So I think I can officially say that our search for our next warehouse or expanded warehouse is officially like started. So we're about to have a lease signed. You know, any day now, any minute now. Hopefully by the time you see this, we'll maybe have the lease signed. We're just waiting on the last few little things. So I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go back through the whole kind of process leading up to this new warehouse, the warehouse 2.0, if you will, because it's going to be our home for a long time, at least compared to how long we've been in the current warehouse or any of our previous locations. So we started out in the hallway. Technically, we probably should have been called Mecca Hallway because it was literally the hallway outside my office in our house. A little side hustle thing, set up a couple of shelves, and it gradually took over all of that hallway. It went from just kind of a few shelves to, you know, kind of both sides of the hall. Thankfully, there's a decent amount of space in there for what it was. And not too long after that, we ended up deciding that the best bet was to move up to the attic.
Hey everybody, it's Nick from Mecca Warehouse here, and I want to bring you on a quick tour of the warehouse. As you're probably aware, the warehouse is actually my house, more specifically, primarily my attic.
So we insulated the attic, we moved things up there, and that was, we did the work for that December 2019. And it worked out pretty well because just around the time that we were really swinging up there was when COVID hit and the infamous quarantine proof your backlog ad hit. This is a quick public service announcement from Mecca Warehouse. As you're probably well aware, coronavirus has been all over the news. People are getting worried about it, hoarding things. It's getting ridiculous. But I'm here to tell you that the surgical mask, probably not going to help you. Toilet paper, definitely not going to help you. Even rubber gloves, don't think those are really going to help you either. What will help you is gunpla. Buy a kit, buy 2 kits, hell, buy a 3rd kit. I don't really care, but build up that quarantine-proof backlog so you're ready in case you get quarantined and have to ride out the storm. In all seriousness, no, coronavirus is coming, and be safe. Make sure you wash your hands, follow the CDC guidelines, and do what you can to protect yourself and your family. Thank you for watching, and really, just stop hoarding toilet paper. What the hell, guys? That obviously kind of sent us into this explosive growth phase that we're still kind of in now. That first month was that, you know, 10x growth or whatever in just a month or two there. By the end of that summer 2020, we knew that we were going to need a new location and ended up in the warehouse that we're in right now, that we're shooting this in. And it was a 2-year lease. All right. Hey, everybody. This is Nick from Mecca Warehouse, and today we're going to do a tour video. I was a little bit worried about how long we'd be able to take to fill it, but when we first got in here, this place was like empty. We had shelves on the sides. The middle was basically a few plastic shelves and just open space. And very quickly that turned into what we see today, where we've got boxes down center aisles. We're stacked way higher on top of the shelves than we thought we'd want to be. The front area that we normally reserved for kind of receiving and stashing received inventory is actually stowing some of our extra cases and things like that. And so we are completely like overloaded right now, which then led us to where we're at now, which is trying to find the new warehouse. The search itself has been kind of interesting. In New Hampshire, especially right here in Hooksett, there's not a whole lot of like industrial type spaces, and when you're looking for the kind of space that we're in now, I think that's basically considered light industrial, especially once you get past a certain size. We're currently in a 1,500 square foot, you'd call it like a contractor bay, you know, your local general contractor or roofing company or whatever might rent a unit like this to stow some of their stuff. Maybe they put their office there, and it's essentially like a big garage that they can park their stuff at. But when you want to get larger than that, it becomes more of an industrial space. And so here in Hooksett, there's not a ton of industrial space. We were able to look north and south for some. In that search, though, wanting to try to stay in Hooksett first, there was nothing right here. So one of the options we looked at was a local shopping center that's been mostly like inactive for years now. Hello.
Hello there.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well, how are you?
Not too bad.
So let's look around.
Yeah.
All right, so I know you talked about a small retail component in the front.
Right.
So you could basically divide it however you want, really.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty wide open. It was a food use at one point because it was
Okay.
a market
Okay.
years back. So the back has plumbing. It probably doesn't do you any good. Like you have no use for additional plumbing or anything like that.
Not really.
No. That's fine.
Yeah.
All this stuff can just be like kind of, if you want to remove this wall,
Yeah.
you could. If not, these pipes could just be like basically cut and put in the wall. And that's,
Okay.
And they're
Okay.
done.
We were talking to them, hoping to rent a 4,800 square foot space. Didn't have the garage door or the ability to get the inventory in though. And in that process found out that getting that, the renovations we'll need, we'll say, to get that space usable for what we wanted was going to be very expensive. The ceilings were low, and it felt like the long-term growth prospects were pretty low considering the cost of the space itself. We looked at some other spaces. I went to another spot in Manchester, which is, the big city that we're kind of a suburb, I guess, here in New Hampshire. And the space there was a space that, was like 3,000 square feet, double what we're in here. The rent would have been fine, but the space also needed renovation. And when you start factoring the cost of making those changes and the fact that they had prospective tenants already that they were talking to that needed the space as is, I think they just stopped responding to my emails. So that kind of fell off, which then led us to the space that we're going to be moving to up in Concord. Like I said, there's not a lot of industrial in Hooksett. If you go down south to like the Nashua Hudson area, there's a bunch of industrial stuff there closer to the border with Massachusetts. And then there's some up in Concord. Tried looking in the south because I think more of our people are down that general way for the most part. And I'm down in that area fairly regularly myself. All that, though, required a lot of renovation as well. In this case, it was the opposite of having, we had to put up walls at the space in Hooksett that we were looking at. This one would have to take walls down, I think, to actually open up the warehouse because there were a lot of like offices and other stuff built out. So I never ended up even looking at any of those spaces. But we found this perfect space up in Concord. Packing station would be, or packing stations would probably be here. And then we do our shelving going back. Figure out how that plays with all the outlets and the stuff on the wall, how tight we go to the wall. But
You put the packing stations back here, you're saying?
yeah.
Are they going out that door eventually, or are they going out?
I don't know. It depends on what's going. But I'm figuring in terms of easy access to customer service to go like,
Yeah,
hey, I got to change an order
yeah.
or something like that. Then we can
Competing priorities.
being able to just pop in and say, hey, Patrick, I got a question on this order, and not
True.
have to
Yeah,
walk
that's what I
200
was
feet.
like, I walked in
You don't
there,
have these
like,
problems now. You got
down
you got
there.
50 feet to walk to somebody now max.
Yeah. Yeah. An intercom, like, I don't know.
Oh, so. Do you know if any of this is wired like Ethernet and stuff like that? Like what's wired in? Like if we did have something way back wherever, or I see stuff hanging, yeah, bundles.
So, I mean,
And I saw what looked like a
yeah.
must have been the router and the internet access stuff over there.
Oh, up here.
I can't represent, but I know these guys, when I was talking with one of them, I said, how's your internet? Great.
Yeah.
They have 25 people that mostly are online.
The rent was very similar to the cost of the Hooksett space with the renovation cost. So a little bit more expensive, but it's 7,500 square feet. It's got offices.
That
Take a
whole
look in here. So this, oh, okay. So this, wow. So we got a ton of space. If we were to,
Yeah, there's a lot more like
Yeah.
office space than I was picturing.
yeah. So like we could make like this could this could be the studio.
Yeah.
We'll do the one without the window, so you don't have to worry about external lighting, changing the lighting situation and that kind of stuff. And like an office, and maybe the other one's office space, or it's
Nook over here.
and maybe the other one's office space, or it's a conference room. The space we have now has no windows, so
Oh, it's a dungeon?
it kind of, yeah. There's like a window in the front, and then a just wide open, clear warehouse, probably 6,000, 6,500 square feet of just warehouse. and 2 loading docks, a driving door, and it's just kind of perfectly configured for what we're looking for. We basically just need a big wide open space to be able to set up shelves, packing stations, all that kind of stuff. And so it just seemed like the perfect space. We're able to negotiate a little bit with them to get them to bring that initial, the rent down a little bit and stage it or step it up rather over the next few years. And we're, fingers crossed that by the time you're seeing this, we're locked in, and it's a 7-year lease, and we've got several options to extend. And I think based on how much of that space we're going to be using initially, we should be able to grow in the space for a good long time. If we outgrow it in 7 years or less, if we outgrow it in less than 7 years, we have a really good problem on our hands, based on how big that is. It's probably like 4 to 5 times as much actual warehouse space as we have here. And because the ceilings are higher, we've got a lot more options to use it more efficiently. So it really should give us the equivalent of maybe 6 or more X on the amount of space we have in here. So that's kind of the path so far. The next fun bit will be trying to plan out the move and getting everything moved over, because we probably have 10 to 15 times as much stuff here as I had to move from the attic to here, and that's going to be an exciting process. So that's kind of the path from the Mecca hallway all the way up to Warehouse 2.0 in a I don't want to say nutshell because I'm going to get laughed at. So in total, I need another synonym for that. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.